Okay, so to end this month of looking at astral realm work in general, we're going to have a look at dream yoga and lucid dreaming. Now, I'm not going to go so much into technique. We have done a couple, I think, if not one, very extensive discussion of lucid dreaming. Oh, you also did one on dark and light time. So what I'll do, I'll put the links, if you hit the icon at the top here, you'll find those videos. They were on the Black Hat chat, so they were very, very extensive and interesting discussions. Now, some other resources I just want to mention. There's 3 books, and I'm mentioning these 3 books because when it comes to lucid dreaming and dream work itself, it's extensive, and it also covers the entire globe and entire history of man. We've been interested, not just spiritually, psychologically and everything else. We've been interested in dreams and dream work itself forever. There's a good reason for that, and I'll get to it. So first one I'd like to recommend is Carlos Castaneda. Now, I would say read through all of Castaneda's books, because what he does, there's a separation between 2 types of people, the stalkers and the dreamers. And what you might find is you are in one of these classes, but therefore, energy work and stuff comes easy to you in that particular area. But you can develop yourself in the other area. So I'm a stalker, for instance, and therefore I use the physical body and physical movement, sound and such things to work with energy. But a dreamer would then go into dreaming to do the same type of work. And I can obviously work at and develop that side of myself and those skills. It's not easy, but it can be done. So I would suggest reading through all Castaneda's books, because there's mention of that all the way through. Don Juan teaches him various methods for stalking energy, stalking power in the physical realm, but then also goes into dreaming states. But there is one specific book by Castaneda, The Art of Dreaming, which is absolutely excellent in regards to this. Another one, so we're going from Toltec to traditional witchcraft, British traditional witchcraft, and if you get the Clovenstone workings by Artisson, especially if you're an Artisson fan, this is excellent. He goes into dreaming, he goes into flight, basically everything to do with moving between the worlds. And there's a specific chant that he uses in order to reach the lucid dreaming state. So that's another interesting one. The other one is, I'll have to put a picture up here, is called Vajrayana. It's by Traleg Kyabgon. I don't know if I'm saying that right. It is Tibetan Buddhism. So this specifically goes into dream yoga itself. And dream yoga, you'll find, is very much connected to Tibetan Buddhism. So this book goes into the 6 yogas of Naropa. But there is a whole section which is dedicated to discussing and giving practical exercises into dream yoga. Now, it is obviously stated that, if you want to practice dream yoga, you can do it individually, but you get more benefit if you practice the others. But obviously, you've got to be initiated into Tibetan Buddhism and everything else. But the reason I'm mentioning this is because there are some techniques in there about the way you lie, on which side of your body you actually lie when you go to bed, that actually aids the lucid dreaming. Now, when it comes to lucid dreaming, there are a few techniques, but there are a lot of overlaps. So that if you go and have a look on the internet for books about lucid dreaming and dream yoga, you'll find hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them. This is a favoured favorite topic for many, many, many people, and we'll probably keep revisiting this because it is one of my favorite topics as well. As I said, it's something that I am developing within myself, within my own practice, and it's taking a long time, but you know, it's just one of those things you have to just keep at and develop and get good at, and you can't just stop just because it's hard. You're going to carry on. But when it comes to lucid dreaming, as I said, there's hundreds and hundreds of books out there, but the techniques are very similar, if not the same, in every single one of them. You'll find that there's often mention of creating a trigger. So what you do something during the day. So you might set your alarm clock to go off every hour so that you can go and do this thing. And that thing may be looking at your hands and asking if you're dreaming, pushing against a wall and seeing if you can push through the wall and ask yourself if you're dreaming. It may be tying sort of string or something around your wrist, and then as the alarm goes off, you look at the string on your wrist and just take conscious note of it. And you keep doing this over and over and over again, and what you'll find is eventually you'll start doing the same thing in your dream. And then when you do that in your dream, you can, if you're, say, looking at your hands, for instance, you ask yourself if you're dreaming, and you might find your hands start to morph and change, and then you realize you're dreaming, and you carry on practicing that, and eventually you can wake up in your dreams. So that's the whole training that happens. There's a couple others, such as waking up every hour and a half to 2 hours, or 2 to 3 hours, depending on who's actually giving the instruction. So what you do, you wake up throughout the night within this period. Say, let's say it's a 2-hour period. So you go to sleep, you wake yourself up after 2 hours, and then you actually get up. You might get up, have a glass of water, just stay up for like 15-20 minutes, just so you kind of break yourself out of that sleep cycle, and then you go back to bed. And you keep doing that every 2 hours. Okay, wake up 15-20 minutes, get out of bed, otherwise you're going to fall back to sleep, and then go back to bed. Now, in Vajrayana, the book I've mentioned, he speaks about this technique, but there's also methods to actually how to lie in bed. And when you go to bed, it's very much speaking about the nadis, the channels that run either side of the spine, Ida and Pingala. And because these are mentioned as being feminine and masculine energies, or negative and positive, or whichever you want to call them, you would lie on one side or the other. And this actually activates those nadis. And it activates a particular side of the brain, hemisphere of the brain, and all things like this. So it's the first place I've seen something like that mentioned. So that's why I was recommending that book, because it might give you some extra ideas for technique. All right, so I don't really want to talk about technique that much. What I do want to mention is, when it comes to dreaming, what we often think or do as somebody who is not a natural dreamer, we separate the two worlds. So our gross or organic world, we separate from our dreaming world. And, when we wake up in the morning, we may have had a bad dream. We just say, well, it was just a dream. These two worlds are not as separate as we think they are. In fact, they are the same. And if we could get into a long discussion about what reality is. Our organic world, this gross matter world, we see it in a particular way, but if we were to see it as energy, we would see everything connected, all right? We would just see energy flowing in and out of everything, and the energy just continues. It doesn't disconnect at any point. It's a continuous flow of energy. And what we see, if we go scientifically, we may see, I'm looking at an armchair in front of me. It's 3-dimensional. It's a tan color. It has shade and everything else. The arms are a bit browner because they need a good clean, but it's a three-dimensional object. But what's actually happening is the vibration of light is hitting the eye, traveling to the brain. The brain is interpreting it as a three-dimensional thing. Science has suggested that we do not, or beyond our eyes, nothing is three-dimensional. It's all two-dimensional. There are no colors. There are no smells or anything like that. It is simply vibrations that hit our eyes, our nose. There's no sounds. It's just vibration that hits our ear, and our brain interprets it a particular way. So, what is reality really? So if we consider the gross world and the dreaming world, they're not separate. Consider the idea that while you're watching this, okay, we are in the gross world, the organic world, and you are watching this video. But there's a possibility that you're actually dreaming right now, and what we in this reality call our dreaming body is actually asleep at this moment, and we are dreaming this. So when our dream body wakes up, it's going to remember or recall a dream. And then when we go to sleep in this gross organic world, then our dreaming body is awake, and we are dreaming of that dream body. So there's this possibility that the two interchange, okay? It's the same body at the end of the day. The gross body and the dream body are the same. This part of the subtle bodies. So what I'm trying to say is, don't separate these two things because they are the same. Try and bring them together, and it'll help your dreaming. So especially if you go into Castaneda, there's a whole process where you meet your dream body, and then you meet your dream body. But it gets rather complicated, and extremely interesting. It just really is probably one of my favorite topics. But yeah, don't separate the two realities, as we call them. They aren't separate, they are the same. And try to break free from that duality by bringing them together, and considering that, as I said, right now you are dreaming. How you interpret that can go in many different directions. But if our dreaming body is asleep right now and dreaming this reality, then when we go to sleep, then we dream the dream body's reality as it's awake. We do wake up in the morning. Some people have total and complete vivid recall. Others do not. The conscious mind starts shifting things around and replacing imagery with other things. And often it's to make sense of what happened in the dream. But usually it's just a conscious mind being a bit of a brat. But, so we wake up in the morning and we have this really wild idea of what the dream, what the visuals and the imagery and everything that happened in the dream. And you think, well, that couldn't have been reality because it was so crazy. It's just the conscious mind changing imagery in order to either interpret it in a certain manner, or it's just being a brat and just decided to change things because it felt like it. And therefore we tend to then separate. We say, well, that couldn't be reality, that's just a dream, it was crazy, it was weird imagery and everything else. But if your dreaming body at the moment is dreaming this reality when you're watching this video, the same thing is probably going to happen when it wakes up. So, if we bring the two together, if we break that duality and bring them together, you'll probably find that the two realities start to live together as they should. And, dreaming becomes easier, dreaming becomes more vivid, more lucid. And obviously, we're talking about lucid dreaming. If we become lucid and we wake up in our dreams and we can get control of our dreams, we become the dreaming body. So, there's all these, there's a separation that we've created that should not be there. That's basically it. And we have to work at removing that separation, removing that duality, so that we can dream. And we will constantly be dreaming, whether it's in this gross organic world or whether it's in the dream world. It's all a dream anyway. So, it's called Leela, the play. This is the play. And it just is. Alright, I think I've rambled enough about this, trying to make sense of words. So I'm going to leave you with that. And as I say, this is one of my favourite topics, so we'll probably revisit it over and over and over again. But anyway, that's it for now. And I'll see you next time. Have a great one. Cheers for now.